thinks about the next election, and the leader thinks about the next generation.
Cabinet Secretary nominees MUTAHI KAGWE, William Kabogo, and Lee Kinyanjui vetted in Parliament as plans to widen broad-based government continues. Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Justin Muturi comes under fire following his remarks on Sunday about abductions. 2 suspects detained in police custody on suspicion of the murder of former IEBC official Aisha Abubakar last week. All right, you can be part of this broadcast. Watch us across our streaming platforms tonight on EBN TV. Our SMS feedback line is open 23059. The hashtag is EBN Prime Edition. We kick off this show right now. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary nominee MUTAHI KAGWE has claimed responsibility for all the ills that occurred when the country was fighting the COVID-19 pandemic during his tenure as Health Cabinet Secretary. During a vetting session before the National Assembly's Committee on Appointments, the members of Parliament revived the COVID millionaires scam that had rocked the Health Ministry in the aftermath of the pandemic. At the time, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, flagged the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA, for mishandling a 7.8 billion shillings tender for the procurement of personal protective equipments, PPEs, following reports that the tender was awarded to well-connected individuals.
We took collective decisions. In the issue of vaccines, we took collective decisions for vaccines. And the whole issue of the expenditure on vaccines, Mr. Chairman, is actually exaggerated. Because 90% of the vaccines that we actually used in Kenya were donated. They were donations from the United States government, from the World Health Organization, from European governments. Yes, they were of a great value. And they were valued at a lot of money, but they were free. We got a lot of those things for free. We didn't actually buy a lot of those ones. The ones that we bought, the ones that we ordered from Johnson & Johnson in South Africa. In fact, the quantity that we were supposed to get, we never even utilized in full, because by the time we had developed immunity and stopped the delivery of. So there were several issues that one can speak about. And as for KEMSA, it is true. When I said that there are cartels out there, it was true. And what did we do? What did I do as minister? You remember, Mr. Chairman, that we carried out a complete re-engineering of KEMSA. Change of staff, restructuring the organization, at least in the time when I was there. So we did take action about it. And I'm the one who invited the investigating authorities to come and go through it so that we can see how we can change the entire structure to do a better job in a crisis like that. For me, Mr. Chairman, what I say is that I hope, because there will be another pandemic, it is not a question of whether it will be there. It's not a question of if it will come. Looking at the global situation today, it is very likely that we are going to get some zoonotic and other pathogens that will cause pandemics in the future. And it's a question of being prepared for it and hope to God that there will be somebody sitting in those offices where he or she will have to make some very difficult decisions, notwithstanding the fact that eventually they could be verified for those decisions. But I hope to God they will have the guts to go on anyway and say.
The Agriculture Cabinet Secretary nominee MUTAHI KAGWE at the same time was faced with the livestock vaccination question at the vetting, saying if approved, he will steer proper civic education to ensure farmers understand the reasons why. The CS nominee said no farmer will be forced to vaccinate their livestock against their will.
Consultation with those in agriculture, we have also come to the same conclusion. I think the long and short of it is the following. Number one is that my understanding is that the whole vaccination process is to address 2 diseases. It is to address the PPR and foot and mouth disease. That's what the issue is about. Mr. Chairman, you know, talked about earlier about social media and what can be propaganda and otherwise. And I think the most important thing is to involve those involved in the industry, including the members of this House, is to involve those involved with the information that we have and say, this is a vaccine, it is being made by Kevavapi, who are our own people, it is for this and this purpose, we only vaccinate about 10% of our livestock, we want to vaccinate more than that. But the point of the matter is this: the cow, as I said earlier, belongs to an individual. It doesn't belong to the government. The goat belongs to an individual, not to the government. So the matter is simple. Here is a vaccine. It is for foot and mouth disease. You have a goat. Do you want the goat to be vaccinated? You say, yes, I want to be vaccinated. We vaccinate. You say, no, I don't want my goat to be vaccinated. Sawa. Do you have a cow? Do you want the cow to be vaccinated? This is the reason why it is to be vaccinated. You say yes, we vaccinate. You say no, we don't vaccinate. Allah?
Information, Communication and Technology and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary nominee William Kabogo now says he will engage the Kenyan youth online in a bid to push for responsible use of social media platforms and artificial intelligence. If approved for the appointment to the position, Kabogo, speaking when he appeared for vetting at County Hall on Tuesday, spoke in reference to the recent trend where Kenyans online have been creating AI-assisted images of political leaders and putting them in coffins in protest against government policies.
I want to be that minister that engaged the Gen Zs and made sure that their energy was converted, and they will be so engaged such that they will be able to make money, business in the digital platform. I want to be the one that will persuade government that we can put resources aside and do these startup hubs where young men and women will be able to employ themselves. This is besides, Mr. Speaker, the 1,450 ward hubs that the President has initiated. I have a feeling that every one of those ward hubs would bring forth about 10, so that the young men and women can get access to affordable loans. You realize that today the non-collateralized loans in Kenya are charging interest of up to 20–25%. And really there is no business a young man would do and be able to pay interest of 20%. So if we can get non-collateralized loans by government, or a collaboration between government and, for example, KCB, loans will be given to these young men, and it's startup loans.
At the same time, Kabogo says the government has no intention of using data it acquires through registration for any illegal purposes. Kabogo, while in support of government projects like the Huduma number, says there is a lot of skepticism around this kind of projects and what the government wants to do with it. Through civic education, the CS nominee hopes Kenyans will have an open dialogue with the government around it.
Huduma number, yes. What happened to Huduma number?
Yes. One thing, Mr. Speaker, there's a lot of skepticism in the public about their information. Always people thinking government wants their information to give to KRA, government wants their information to do this. And we have to continue engaging ourselves as a public on why isn't it necessary to have information of Kenyan people in one database. For as long as that information is safe in the hands of government, it is important that government if you walk into Dubai now and you give in your passport, if you've ever been there before, anything, they have got your stuff there. If you are exiting Dubai, they tell you to look at the screen and you're taking your identity. The time you're kicked out of Dubai, you will never go back to Dubai again because your information is right there. So I think myself it's a myth that we need to deal with in terms of educating ourselves and having this open dialogue that government is not always bad. Because, you know, that is a sort of general feeling I have now. But it's working. It's something we can work on.
Member of Parliament for Aldai constituency in Nandi County, Marian Kitani, has asked the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Justin Muturi, to resign because of his remarks on Sunday about the abductions that seemed to target the government of President William Ruto. Majority Whip in the National Assembly, Silvana Sosoro, has also threatened to lead a signature collection drive to oust the now embattled Cabinet Secretary.
From where I sit, and you said I'm a politician, I'm more a leader than a politician, because the politician thinks about the next election and the leader thinks about the next generation. So I belong to that other side. But from where I sit, that was very irresponsible of the Honorable J.B. Muturi, if I may say so, Speaker, without saying more. If I was or I were on his position or in his position, I would have taken my dissent to the appointing authority, and if I was afraid of facing the appointing authority, I would go to cabinet and air it there, and if I'm not satisfied, tender my resignation. I resign because I don't believe in what the government is doing.
Hiyo miezi 6 tangu siku hiyo aliyekuwa abducted na kurudishwa paka saa hii hujaenda kuripoti kwa police station. Unataka nani akufanyie hiyo kazi? You are the minister for public, meaning hao watu wote in short wana report kwako. Ukikuja kwa media kutuambia kwa press na wewe ndio minister ya hao watu, hiyo ni kusema nini? Si umekosa kazi yako? Umeshindwa na kazi? So nini kwa hiyo ofisi? Wewe ujiuzulu, kuja ongea huku nje kama raia mwema. Ushike microphone kama raia mwema ukiongelesha ukigonga hiyo serikali. Lakini huwezi gonga serikali ukiwa ndani yake.
Ile kiboko tulipiga Gachagua ndio inakuja kwako. You resign ama nikutoe. Vile tuna resume bunge, because tuko na siku 14 ndio to resume bunge. Justin Muturi, you have 3 options. Ya kwanza, resign. Ya pili, apologize to ignore your maneno. Ya tatu, we impeach you. Tuna collect signatures. Uende nyumbani. You cannot serve the government of Kenya yenye unalima kila siku. Ati yo maneno namna hii. Sani yako anashikwa akifanya ukora, unasema ni abduction. Na wewe sani yako alipatikana kwa bar na vitu zingine za kufuta sijui nini, akashikwa. Fundisha mtoto wako maadili bwana. Wacha ajipange pole pole. It can't be that the only people complaining are from one region. It can't be.
Well, trouble for Justin Muturi has already started brewing right there, but there's also a statement to which he has, fingered the National Intelligence Service Director, that is Nordin Haji, as the man who ordered for the abduction of his son last year in June 2024. And of course, that is some big shocking news coming from a man of his stature, his Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, but at the same time, a former Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. And the weight of that statement really brings a lot of question around what is the government's hand in these abduction cases that we're witnessing in the country, or to what extent does it, stretch to. So definitely that will be bringing in some more reactions, especially against the CS now, and we'll be waiting to see what exactly the government says about that. But let's go to the corridors of court in the coastal region, where Ashanti Court has detained for 21 days the 2 suspects behind the murder of former acting chief officer of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, Kilifi County, Aisha Abubakar. The 2, Joseph Sunday and Brian Templar Oyere, have been linked to the murder, while detectives and the prosecution are asking for more time to complete the investigation. The court has been informed that the 2 were arrested on Monday in Utange, Kiemveni area, while they were found in possession of the mobile phone belonging to the former acting chief officer of the IBC, along with other documents that linked them to the murder incident. The prosecution, led by Kenya Ombele, has said that the 21-day period will enable them to complete the investigation, as well as carry out DNA tests to compare the tests they took at the home of the slain former IEBC officer.
The nature of the investigations is for a serious offense, that is murder. I therefore find that there are compelling reasons raised by the prosecution and the investigating officer to deny the respondents bond at this point, and also to detain them in custody for the investigations to be finalized. So on the issues raised by the respondents that they were subjected to torture, I note that there is an oversight authority that oversees the police, that is IPOA. So this court will direct that the matter be investigated by the said authority, who are mandated by the law to act as an oversight over the police. So in the circumstances and in the interest of justice, I grant the following orders. The suspects to be detained at Bamburi Police Station for a period of 21 days from today to enable the investigating officer to finalize his investigations. Further, the suspects to be escorted to hospital for treatment or medical examination while they are in custody.
Kenyans seeking title deeds will now find it easier to obtain these important documents thanks to a new government directive aimed at expediting the process of land ownership documentation at all land registries. Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki on Tuesday said that the Kenya Kwanza government has streamlined the issuance of title deeds and is opening additional registries nationwide. Currently, 200,000 titles are ready for distribution as the government aims to reduce the percentage of land owners without legal documentation. While issuing title deeds to hundreds of residents in the Njukini and Eldoro areas of Taita Taveta County, the Deputy President emphasized President William Ruto's commitment to ensuring that Kenyans can establish land ownership promptly.
Ili kurahisisha kazi hii ambayo tutafanya kwa zile sehemu zote ambazo zimebaki, mpaka kila mwananchi Taita Taveta apate hati miliki ya shamba. Hili kurahisisha hiyo kazi. Taita Taveta ni mahali pana kidogo, na saa hizi watu wote, wananchi wote wa Taita Taveta wanaenda katika ofisi ya ardhi kule Undanyi, na mtu akitoka Undanyi hapa, akitoka hapa Taveta kwenda Undanyi ni mbali. Mwananchi akitoka Voi kwenda Undanyi ni mbali. Paka tupendane, paka tuendelee kujumuika pamoja, tuwe jamii moja kubwa ya Kenya. Si namna hiyo? Mimi nimesikia mbunge moja hapa anataja sijui hao watu, sijui ni kabila hii iko na watu hii, sijui Wapare ni wangapi, sijui kabila ingine ni wangapi. Hiyo mambo ya hesabu ya jamii zetu ni mambo ambao hayana maana sana, kwa sababu sisi zote ni taifa moja la Kenya.
Elders from the Luya community have denounced the conspiracy of ward representatives from Trans Nzoia County to remove the county governor George Natembeya from office. This is after an alleged pressure from the government to take action following his remarks at the burial ceremony of Mother to Speaker Moses Wetangula in December. At a meeting with journalists, the elders have revealed the meetings that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has been holding with the ward representatives from the Kenya Kwanza Alliance to remove the governor, sending a warning that if they do so, then they will see protests in the county. However, they have accused the Kikuyu Member of Parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, for the insults he portrayed at the burial, calling for action against the majority leader.
Moja, sisi tuliwachagua, hawakujichagua wenyewe. Gavana George Natembeya sisi ndio tulimchagua, na kama kuna shida walete kwa wasee tuongee. Lakini maneno ya kutangaza kwamba wanataka kumuimbichi, hiyo kitu tunakemea na ishindwe. Hiyo kitu ishindwe. Na tuko mahali ambapo wasee wanakaa wakifanya mambo ya kimila. Kama wewe ni MCA umeshindwa kutengeneza wadi yako, watu wako wanakufa njaa, watu wako watoto hawasomi, na unatafuta pesa ya kumuimpeach governor. Leo sisi tumesimama mahali patakatifu pa wasee, na tunasema neno hili ya kwamba yako yameisha, usiseme utaendelea, na tumekupa wiki moja uje kwa wasee uombe msamaha. la sivyo tuko na wewe. Sasa nakuja Trans Nzoia kutaka kuharibu maendeleo yetu na uhusiano wetu katika Trans Nzoia. Nataka nimwambie siku ya leo ya kwamba akija hapa atafute wazee kae nao, atafute vijana kae nao, lakini asikuje Kitale Club, Kwesa Hotel Kimini na kukawakao pesa ati MCA waende waimbichi governor. Sisi pia wakiimbichi governor, sisi pia tunaimbichi hata MCA. Tunakuja kwa viongozi wale walichakuliwa Trans Nzoia, kama mbunge wa Nyonyi, kama mbunge Simiyu, kama mbunge Isau. Wanatembelea kando kando, wanakaa na Weta, wanakaa na nani, kuanza kusengenya gavana wetu.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has arrested Nick Odhiambo Migot, former Director of Information and Communication Technology, ICT, at the Kisumu County Government. Odhiambo is set to face charges related to forgery of academic certificates which he used to secure employment with the Kisumu County Government, thereby defrauding the public through salary received over a period of 3 years, accumulating to 4.6 million shillings. The former senior county official is said to have forged a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science, falsely attributing it to the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, and a Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, purporting it to have been issued by the Kenya National Examination Council.
And we tried by all means, all methods of negotiation, but there was no fruit.
All right, apologies about that. Now let's get to the strike that you've just seen on your screen. Well, Kisumu County nurses have this Tuesday staged demonstrations along the streets of Kisumu after downing their tools, demanding various issues to be addressed by the county government, including salary increment, implementation of their collective bargaining agreement, among other issues. Led by their Secretary General Maurice Opetu, they have vowed to continue with their strike until their demands are addressed.
And we tried by all means, all methods of negotiation, but there was no fruits. So today, we began our strike yesterday, and today we have come to bring our petition to the county government. That's why we are here. We have issues that we wanted to be addressed. There are quite a number. We wrote a strike notice to them, including these issues, but unfortunately enough, the county government of Kisumu refused to act.
Our salary increment, the SRC salary increment that was paid for the month of July, August, September, November, October and November. Come the month of December, the county government decided without any consultation, without any prior information, to remove our salary. What we are telling them, when the government, including the county government, want to take money from our salaries, want to take taxes from our salaries, they don't ask us if we can sustain, they don't ask us if we can afford, they don't ask us if there is affordability and physical sustainability. But when it comes to any little increment, they want to start saying, oh, there is no affordability, oh, there is no sustainability, and so many other things. So we are telling them that tumechoka na and oh. You discuss somewhere that the salary increment that was given by SRC should not be paid until you are given 400 billion. We want to tell you that the nurses of Kenya, nurses of Kisumu, and all workers of Kenya in public service are not your guinea pigs to use as a test to get what you want.
Keeping up with the head of state, President William Ruto and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan on Tuesday witnessed the signing of a comprehensive economic partnership agreement between Kenya and the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. The partnership agreement, one of its kind, signed by the UAE with a mainland African country, representing a transformative step in enhancing trade, investment, and economic cooperation. The agreement strengthens Kenya's position as a gateway to East and Southern Africa and reaffirms the UAE's role as a global logistics and financial hub connecting the Middle East, Asia, and beyond.
And with that, we conclude the signing ceremony. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we end our news briefs this evening. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you are up to speed with what is making headlines across the country. Stay safe. My name is Cynthia Nanjala.